I know, like, I owe you probably somewhere along the line of all the
All right.
times.
You don't owe me
That
shit.
time you saved my life back on Dagobah, you know what I mean? Like, we'll drink to that.
Life-saving events.
A
Yeah, making life
absolutely
less
delicious.
boring. Man, this is such
Absolutely
a tasty
delicious.
bourbon. It really
Um,
is. Like, if I was gonna recommend anything for even as a like a nightcap, this would be phenomenal because it's like it's not enough where you'd want to drink it as a daily, but it's just enough where you can kind of wind yourself down.
it sort of has the best of both worlds though too, because you could easily get drunk off of this and just
Oh,
have, like,
oh,
a
easy,
killer
easy.
time. You don't get, like, that grogginess that you get from, like, other
Mm,
heavy liquor. Um And then, yeah, it has that, like, wholesome I love it. It's one to tie off on too. So it's just great. It's got, like, every kinda bit to it. Um, and it's got, like you said, that peppery
mhm,
taste. It's like
mhm.
black pepper, but it's a wholesome drink. And I know, like, I could really go all, like, you know, raving about a whiskey at any point, but I really do like this one. This one that is a standout for what it is, and just the fact that it's also Japanese. Like, I love
Yes,
that. Like, I don't know
we will take
where,
a bow for the Japanese.
like, I don't know where they're coming from. Like, how did they just like get good whiskey? I don't know.
Chemistry.
Yeah, but
Science.
they had to learn from like Kentucky because all of this, like, it does have that like American pizzazz to
Because
it.
they
You
did
know,
start
that freedom. You can taste the freedom in the liquor for sure.
true. I think it probably revolves around like some of them were during the early 18th century. Because I know for a long time they kind of put an embargo on all imports from everywhere. Then
Yeah.
right around like you know what the movie came with like The Last Samurai.
Yeah.
I believe that's what because it was also right during the same time frame that Japan started allowing more people to come in and visit their culture. I feel like that was the opening for it all, and somebody just most likely brought some, like probably the captain or some high-ranking officer on this ship, brought something in to share as a gift
Yeah.
to present to the family
Are you talking
or
about, like, a real life shi like a ship brought it over? Or are you just
yeah,
talking
most
about,
likely.
like, okay, you're just
Yeah.
talking about, like, a generality. I didn't know if
Well,
that was the story.
The Last Samurai with, Tom Cruise was based on true events.
Yeah.
So, but it's Hollywood, so it's like there was
Yeah.
a white guy that went there years and years ago, but
Mhm.
it was just probably what during the whole process, we're, only being taught what his story was, not the story.
I always loved, like, old westerns for the same reason that, like, a lot of it's based off of, like, that kinda stuff, like The Last Samurai or, like, A Journey to the West.
Okay.
You kinda have, like, so many influences from Chinese and Japanese culture, and people in the comments are already gonna fry me because you can't even like combine those two. But I guess I'm just talking about like Eastern philosophies in general. And
You wanna
then
speak about racism, man, those guys hate each other for centuries.
yeah, and that's what I mean. I didn't want to like lump them into the same boat because if you did that, like they would hate each other too. But as like Eastern philosophies go into Western culture and how it like permeates some of the major stories over here, old westerns are like a prime example of how like samurai tales were told and like how Western American culture was told. So
For
like
sure.
I love the breakdown of that.
It reminds
I've
me like
always been a big
of the
fan.
infancy stages of the Texas Rangers, like those were the ones that would go off into the
Yeah, I'm talking
Arizona
about
Texas.
like John Wayne and yeah,
Yeah.
like the
Those would be like our samurai stories of lore, people that are going into hostile territories.
mhm. Yep.
Because nobody liked anybody back then, and
Yeah.
the Indians absolutely hated us. So it's like when you're venturing in, they're looking for someone that's done people wrong out east.
Yeah.
Now it's like, yeah, convince them like, I'm out here looking for this douchebag. If you happen to kill him, let me know. I appreciate it.
Man,
Save me some
I
time.
yeah, and I know I had just bought the book for the West like the Red Dead Redemption's Tale of the West. It's
Yeah, you
like
telling this. You were
the
mentioning that last
historian
week,
like
earlier this
breaking
week.
it down. Yeah, so I'll dig into that like a lot more. I can't wait to like get down that rabbit hole. Because I'll probably go down it for just like that book. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And then I'll probably like flash pan it. It'll be out of my system in like a month or
Right.
whatever.
Do you know what'd be cool
um
is if we had a chance to go and participate like this September, or well, actually no, it's probably already passed now. But I'm listening to Randall Carlson on Patrick Bet Davis podcast. It was a few months ago. Well,
okay.
I don't know when they're going to be doing it, but he's doing a week long event in Washington discussing about how some everything was created, the waves, the structure, and all that stuff like that, and backing up based off of
Okay.
their information. I'm currently listening to the podcast. I'm almost done.
So like wave structure, you're talking about like
Like
physics. You're
yeah,
talking about
physics
like
and how
the
things.
universe as a
Yeah,
whole, like
but
entanglement and
he
all
also
that.
wants to go in and describe how the landscape occurred because he's been on. He's like the whole thing is about
Sure.
catastrophic events and like
Yeah.
what had happened in the past and like what it did to Washington and how it has all the lakes and stuff like that. And then when you go out west, when you see even when you start going through the western part of South Dakota, you see these massive rolling hills. But when
Mhm.
you look at them, it's as if they were once underwater. And he wants to explain, like based off of what they found in Canada, based
Yeah.
off of these
Well,
5 or 6
you know,
massive asteroids that have hit up there.
they're definitely not lying when they say it was probably partially underwater at some point, just because we had the glacial period. But like if you talk about just that, I guess like water is a different state of
I think
flow
he's
at that
looking
point.
more like
But
show people more about the younger Dryas era, like why we had that
okay.
massive spike.
Yeah, I feel like Graham Hancock like always looks at that.
Oh yeah, those 2 are
Always the
buddies.
younger
Those 2 are
guys.
friends. They did a
Yeah.
documentary together and stuff like that. And they've been on Rogan's podcast several times.
Yeah.
Like really would it'd be fun to go back and see one of Graham Hancock's lectures again because Nick and I went to one here several years ago,
Mhm.
and it was back when I think it was Magicians of the Gods came out.
Okay.
That's how he's basically bridging the gap between all these different um, religious icons throughout the year, but how he equates that to different time frames throughout the period. So like, he's just a very interesting guy. But it's
Yeah.
pretty neat though. It's like he had pneumonia at the time in the event. Still came up, did 90 minutes or 120 minutes. Luckily he had
Jesus.
Doctor not, what's his name? His, I can't recall his name. His brother Terrence McKenna, Dennis McKenna.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, Doctor
Terrence.
Dennis
Oh,
McKenna. Yeah,
I don't know Dennis McKenna, but I know Terrence
yeah, Dennis is his brother and stuff like that. That would they were both buddy. They were
McKenna.
brothers. They went all down there. A lot
I
of what
think
we
it's
have today,
crazy that
they went down there.
the amount of
And
and I mean I guess I get this in the podcasting space per se. So you have like Brett Weinstein and Eric Weinstein, and they both like, are in the same field. They're both like studying physics all the time, and they're like, in the math and science fields and stuff. And like there's a part of me that's like, okay, the only reason but both of these people exist is because you met one through something and then the other one just came on because he's your brother or whatever. But then there's also a part of me that's like they probably come from the same genetic line, so they are like just, that much smarter than most people around them because they got good genes or whatever. And then you almost want to talk to both of them because, and at different times or whatever, but you want to talk to both Dennis and Terrence McKenna because both of them
Terrence is
are
no longer with us. For he passed away in the '90s. I think I can't recall
okay.
how he passed away, but he's no longer with us. Which
But
would be fun to. He'd be a very interesting person. He'd be like our Randall Carlson, just because of the in depth knowledge he has for biology and
yeah,
how the chemicals work and stuff like that. Either it's like we're missing a few greats in there. Luckily,
yeah,
Dennis is just as intelligent and such that when it comes down to, we just can't get him on politics because he leans very left. I think that's
yeah,
where most of his funding comes from, though.
yeah. And politics all like aside too. I feel like just interviewing people to interview them is like more important than
Oh yeah,
anything
I
else.
agree. It would be nice to
If
see
you could have like one person on here, did we already ask that question?
last week.
Oh my gosh, we did,
You
didn't
haven't
we?
gotten to that. You
How
haven't
about if
edited
you
that
had
episode
to
yet.
go? Oh, that's probably what it is.
Yeah,
How about if you had to go on somebody's show? Who would it be?
somebody show uh on their show.
You had to get interviewed.
Hmm.
Would you want to get interviewed by like Rogan or Dr. Jordan Peterson or
It would be fun. It
or
would definitely require some preparation to
yeah,
be able
I
to
feel like I'd be more
hold a
nervous.
conversation. Because it's like I would, if I were to had a conversation with Dr. Jordan Peterson, I'd feel like I'm an idiot because he is just very intelligent. So I have to really structure my conversation around that. Like
Yeah.
what I found that when I'm a guest at somebody else's podcast, I feel that it's a very fun flowing free flow of conversations, but it's like it doesn't drive towards anything. It doesn't have any structure to it. Unlike
Yeah.
where because it's like I'm on their podcast, so it's like I wait. I want them to unfold the episode and how they want it to go.
Mhm. Yeah, do you think that you would have, like, a good unfolding, though, if, like, Rogan tried to break apart? Or do you think you'd have more fun on, like, a random more like a B tier podcast where it would be, like, unsubscribe, or you could get onto Nelk Boys, or you could do, something along that line? Do you think you'd have more fun doing that?
I think if having fun with Rogan would just be fun because it's like because we would smoke cigars, we'd smoke blunts, and we'd turn around, smoke, drink whiskey. And it's like the unique thing is we'd
Yeah,
have multiple things to talk about. We just got to figure out where we want to put our conversation to because I've
yeah,
listened to his conversation about hunting, and it seems to be very straightforward. It doesn't have any. It hasn't really his opinion really hasn't changed much. But it's like when because I've listened to other folks that are known in the hunting world hop on his podcast. It all
yeah.
depends on who you're talking to because like it's it's he has that variety of being able to work. We can talk about drugs and stuff like that, and travel and whatever. And maybe I can ask him if he's a CIA double agent. I mean, he
Yeah,
traveled all across the country. I don't think he did a whole lot of Europe tours for when he was like when he was touring as for comedy and such. I
probably
think
not.
I
Huh.
think most of all the stuff he did was all here, but he does
Yeah,
travel with family wise though.
yeah. So I'm sure you'd have something to talk about.
Oh
I
yeah,
just wonder,
oh
like,
for
what
sure.
direction that would go. Like,
I have no
I
idea. That's the
know
best part.
I would much rather be on an unstructured show, I think.
That
I
would
think
be
that's where I thrive.
yeah. Unstructured it has its own thrill because you don't know who's going to come up with what and what's going to cause the go down the rabbit hole
Yeah,
essentially.
kinda like the catalyst, right? Because another
A lot of
thing
our
with that
conversations, as you and I progress, they go whatever direction we were currently being
dude,
influenced that day or that week of.
Phil had mentioned it, but, what was it? He asked the question from the hat, and it was just like, "What was your last vacation?"
True.
And then you, I, and him all got super animated for the next hour and a half about it was strictly about like concerts or something. It was concerts or raves. I don't even
Oh,
like remember.
it was concert because
We
he
talked about
because
it for like an hour plus though. Just like boom, all three of us animated, instant.
yeah, because it was something we all had common ground on, because when we've all been to concerts, we've all been there not sober,
Yeah.
and
I have a really funny short on the one that you're like, "Oh, there's no way you were sober." I'm like, "Dang it." Like, it was funny.
yeah. I mean, it's like we all have experiences, and plus, it's like you never know what genres cross what genres. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we've all kind of agreed. It's like if there's an opportunity to see Tech Nine, it'd be phenomenal. Like right
Mhm.
now, Tech Nine and Falling in Reverse, the closest they're going to be in the Midwest is in Missouri. I think it's St. Louis. They're going to be attend. They have a concert plus a couple other bands. That's
Yeah.
not going to be until October. So it's like in October
Just
is a tough
a
one to
while
really
out.
plan around.
Yeah, I feel like October is gonna be, like, the hardest month to, like, make a
Oh yeah,
plan or a move.
and it's
Uh,
a
like, the way that I see it right now is, like, I know there's, like, 3 things that for sure happen every single October. It's, like, Halloween, right? And then you got Oktoberfest weekend, which is usually the first
yeah,
weekend.
which is in 9 days, 8 days. So yeah.
Is it really in 8 days?
Yep. I have a countdown on my phone. That's how I know.
Yeah,
Because
I
ten
should
days
really
out
keep up
is
with that.
Sunday, and that's when we're going up to Green Bay and watching either the Vikings lose or the Vikings.
Okay. And you're in town for Saturday, though.
Yes, yeah. Saturday. So Friday night is when I put on the brisket.
Oh, you're doing that Friday night.
No, no, no. I'm doing the brisket Friday night to be done by Saturday. It's a 16
Okay.
pound brisket. It's gonna literally take me like 15 hours to cook it.
Oh,
If I want
man.
it to be done by 2 p.m. or because I need to have it done by 2 p.m., allow it to rest, or 3 p.m. to allow it to rest and be finished to be able to be to eaten at either 5 or 6 o'clock at night.
Okay.
So it's like I need an ample amount of time, but
You
I
are,
also need a lot
uh,
to rest.
super ahead planning that, though. I work at 10:30 that night, but,
On Friday
on
or on Saturday?
Saturday.
Oh, you'll have an opportunity to come and eat and leave.
Okay, because that's probably what I'll do.
Because
Not to be,
also
like,
pull out
mean.
venison as
I'll give
well.
you some whiskey for sure, but I'll get you a gift for having
Sure.
us up there.
Sure. I'm still enjoying the what Angels Envy gave me from July.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Dude,
You know the
we
thing is,
just
I haven't
don't
touched that bottle since you. Well, after going to John Henry, it's like
yeah.
Alicia and I've been enjoying that, but it's we're only doing 1 or 2 shots because they're $75 a bottle.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
cheaper
no.
here, but they're a little expensive out there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's funny that, like, the amount of drinking probably only occurs when you and I are hanging out together.
Oh
That's
yeah,
like
it's
really
like
what it is.
unless it's like
Does
at
that
least
mean that we're like bad for each other? Is does that mean
well
that
we don't drink to
we're a match
excess.
made in heaven?
We
You
don't
know?
drink to excess. We enjoy the time we do have because tomorrow is not
Yeah.
promised.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I really thought about it, man. Like, what if I died like right now in this moment? Earlier today, I was thinking that. It's like, what if
Okay.
I just like dropped dead of a heart attack? Right? Never know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think I have everything in line yet. You know what I mean?
That's the finite thing about being mortal. It's like you never know when your time is going to be up. So that's
Yeah.
where
I
you
should probably get like a will though. I should probably get
well
the
with your
crypto backed up properly and you know
yeah, or create a living trust and stuff like that to go from there because you're not married, you don't have no kids, so it's like you got to
that's
figure out what you're
true.
doing with that money. So it's like
That's
you have the
true.
opportunities, like how do we get this grow and like because the idea would be it's like if I was able to, for some odd reason, be able to achieve like hundreds of millions of dollars, like the idea would be is develop a trust, keep that trust alive by continually making money, but then the
Yeah.
people that are the most important to me, like they get a cut from it. You know what I mean? Because the nice thing is $5,000 a month out of like let's say the trust is worth 100 million and it's already making money in the back end, but it's like you give a small group of people like a $5,000 allowance every single month. That can really that $5,000 changes a lot of people's life. That covers all your basic expenses. So therefore, if you have child
Yeah.
support, rent, or you have a mortgage, something like that, you're able to actually free up that more time, so you can actually like a person like you could go work for a Gander Outdoors or a Cabela's to get their discount. So
Mm.
this way you can be in the realm you want to be in, even though
Yeah.
it's retail. But it's like I'm part
It,
time. What the fuck can you do about it?
low key, like 100 million is more than enough for that. You
Oh,
could
for
you could
sure.
give people way more than that.
Well, you know what I mean.
But yeah,
I
yeah,
don't I
yeah, yeah.
like because it's like you also
Um,
got to think if you're giving it to 10
it,
people,
yeah,
that's
interest like for you. So say you and I wanted to go like you know have just live off of interest, have like 5K a month or 7K a month or whatever it is. Roughly like 2.7 mil. It's like where you're kind of looking.
oh shit. Then
So
I
like
can spread the love even more.
yeah, it's like so if you're really looking like yeah, if you have 100 million, you could set like 50 people up with that. But
Right?
obviously you're gonna set up your family first, and then you're gonna I don't know,
Only people
dude.
I like because I only have a
You know,
handful of people I enjoy hanging out with.
like my future kids, I don't think I'm gonna spoil them. I feel
Good,
so
don't
bad, but like
because otherwise you develop an entitled attitude. And it's like I was
I
that.
will get I will give the like I will give them the proper education to do what they have to do, but I'm not by any means gonna be like, here you can have this because we have the money for it, or here you can have that because we have the
For sure.
I'm not gonna buy them like the latest RC car or whatever all the time. I'm not gonna give them phones early. I'm not, the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, I don't want my kids to like just be spoiled.
Yeah, like
I want them to live like meagerly, almost like
yeah.
what I do right now.
My ex and I and all of us the same thing. Like, well, what happens if your daughter wants to go to college? Like, she can go on her own. Because like right now, like it's 2024, 73% of all
Yeah.
jobs don't require a college education. So it's like unless
College
you're
is a tough one because,
yeah,
like, you almost want to give them enough money for a college fund, but, like, realistically, it's so hard to save for if you wanted to go back to college, you probably couldn't even do it.
yeah, I don't
You know
want to
what
go
I
back to
mean?
college
Not that you
anyways.
want to, but I'm
But
yeah,
yeah.
like,
Oh, for me to go
on
to
your,
get a
like yeah,
master's
whatever you're
degree.
making a year, like, whatever I'm making a year, like, it's not feasible for me to even go back to college without taking on debt.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. So it's like, why would I take on that? What's a negative ROI? Where if I go back to college, it's
And
gonna cost me
then
like 30 grand.
I feel
I
like
could put that money into something that's gonna give me interest and pay me on.
yeah. The only reason that I think I would do that would be like if my kid like I mean that was like the only thing they wanted to do, like go to like a Big Ten school or something like that.
Okay,
If that was like their dream. Which yeah, I know people like that, so like I just wouldn't knock them down and be like, oh, like you have to pay for all of this by I would probably just pay for it out of pocket for them,
Mhm. If I were
so
to
then
do
they don't
anything,
take
it's
on the
like
debt.
I would like to. If I were to do anything, it was like contribute to the overall household bills. Like if like for your cell phone,
Yeah,
your internet, and like a partial of your not pay a full rent, but partial the rent because this way then you have to be responsible for it because this is your allowance. Now
yeah,
this is you got to make up the rest. But at least this way then the internet's paid for, their cell phone's paid for, and at least they'll be able to have the way to do their work for them
yeah.
because it's like you don't have
Or you could just be really mean and be like, I'm already paying for your health insurance. till you're 26.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I don't know. Good luck there, I guess.
Oh man, that is the worst part. It's like the perpetual status of children, you know?
It's crazy that they were able to up that to 26 and then they don't up the age of voting. It's like, you gotta do both.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
age of consent laws, again, 21, push it up. Just push it all up. If you're gonna
Mhm.
push one, especially healthcare, especially health insurance, push everything up after that. Because I don't know, a lot of these like Zoomer kids don't even leave the house now until they're like 25, 26.
Yeah, exactly. And that's but
Oh,
it's like, but when you look at the perspective of it, though, it's really expensive. It's
oh,
really expensive.
to like move out, yeah.
Oh
To
yeah.
like handle your own bills, yeah. It's near impossible now.
That if I were to go back
It,
to my younger self when I was in college, don't get a vehicle. Just don't focus on what you need. And like there's like
yeah.
I set myself up years ago when I was in college where it's like everything was I could walk back and forth. It was
See,
less than a mile.
that's gonna depend
Summertime
where
was
you
fucking
live.
hot.
That's
Yeah.
gonna depend where you live. I don't
Yeah.
think you could do that around here. I don't
Uh
think there's a chance in hell that you could do no car around here.
yeah, because even public transportation
My
pain in the
job
ass.
is 7 miles. Yeah, we don't have good there's no good, like, busing, there's nothing.
Yeah, we don't have a tram
I think
system.
I think in the Midwest, like, if you're in the Midwest or not in a major city, somewhere out west or somewhere down south, like, I don't think you can do it reasonably. I think you need to have a car.
No.
But, I mean, that said, you could buy a cheap car.
Oh, for
Like, I
sure.
think I think another thing was that people would people do it now. People buy cars that they can't afford, and, like, they're paying the same monthly rate as their rent on some cars. It's like, okay, or your mortgage even. Um, but yeah, I think you could buy like a cheap beater. You get an A to B
Oh,
car,
100%.
and you could get it in high school on like your minimum wage McDonald's job if you really need to. McDonald's is paying 15 an hour now. You can make
Yeah.
it. You know,
Jack Culver's is at 17, 18 bucks an hour.
yeah. I always see that
Chick-fil-A's at like 18 bucks an hour too. It's like,
people
eh,
have spending issues, man. It's not all like money related. I know inflation blows. I'm not gonna discount that. I wouldn't do that. I'm a big advocate of crypto. Like very obviously, I hate inflation. I like gold. I like my lead. I like my silver. I even buy uranium futures sometimes. But I think it's just like I get that inflation is like 3 times the amount it was 3 years ago. But I also understand people's spending habits have not changed due to inflation. So
mhm.
people are still spending random things on Temu and Amazon and Marketplace, and people are just buying things that they don't need.
And we also have the opportunity for Uber Eats, stuff like that too. So that really adds up.
Yeah,
You know what I
people
mean?
don't
Like
even think about
with
that. Oh,
Alicia
did
and
you
I leaving up,
pay you
like
pay a
Alicia.
foreigner to come bring your food to you? Like you got your food taxi to your house?
Yeah.
How much is that gonna cost? Like,
Oh, let's see here. The
30
few
bucks, 20 bucks a delivery after tips?
after everything's all said and done, usually for us to deliver to West Salem was like 60 bucks. And that's that. And so it's
Yeah.
like, but that
So that's
discourages
another
us
thing. Yeah.
from actually ordering. So it's like, so what we do is like, instead of buying food and frivolous stuff, it's like we actually buy like a half a cow or a quarter cow. We buy
You
40 to
buy in
60
bulk.
pounds of, we also do food saver bags too as well. You've been to my house.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I'd rather put money into that because it's like, I have all the opportunities. Now it's just filling my tags is essentially where I'm at right now. Cause
Yeah.
one a tag a year is not easy, but it's like, there's people out there that fill all of them, and there's people that have that their life does not allow that to happen based off of
Yeah.
what's all going on.
Yeah. Oh, for people in the back, he's saying like fill tags for deer.
For deer, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Deer,
Sorry, not
mhm,
that we have to do that, but I know like
but
each your
but
pod.
yeah,
Yeah. We are on a show. I can't believe it.
yeah,
No.
right.
Um yeah, no, I think you're right to say that people just need to work on like preservation. I can't even talk right now. Food preservation, things like buying a whole cow, buying things like in bulk, buying things from Costco, Sam's Club, kind of doing the more wholesale route,
Oh
saving
yeah.
money
If
that
you had
way.
the room for it, so you and I going in on a
I
half a
don't.
cow was like 900 bucks per
Yeah.
person. So
Oh,
that's actually really reasonable.
yeah. I was gonna.
And
If you want to
how
buy a cow this year or a half cow this year, that would
mhm,
be pretty nice.
right?
Right now, Kayla's mom has a beef set up for us right now. We're getting it. She's getting it like $3 a pound.
Which is stupid, which is ridiculous.
Grass fed beef too. It's
Yeah.
like good. It's like it's locally sourced. We know the person. Like that changes
Who they're
everything.
going for a butcher because that actually can play the role of the
They I don't know. I think they butcher it in house because it's stuffed. It's like looks like it's stuffed bagged. Like it's got like their logo on it and all that.
Oh, I got you. Because
So
usually,
I think
like,
they have their own
because in
house.
order to be able to pull off butchering a full cow, it's like it requires space and then the equipment to do it. Because they're not like a 200 pound or 100 pound deer. It's like that's a
Yeah.
2,000 pound
No, I
animal.
mean this is like a family farm that's been in
Oh,
business for a
so
long
so they've
time.
okay, I got
Yeah.
you. Yeah, because
So
it's how we got
it's just
ours
somebody
too.
that we know. So it's like it's you just get your connections. We have somebody for if we want regular eggs, not like the white eggs from the store. You can get the brown eggs now. We kind of started getting we have like berry connections now, so like strawberries, blueberries. We're getting there. We're getting to that point where like we're starting to kind of get into this like farming community here. Cause I've lived here my entire life. And like I can tell you, my family, like they were never like making connections like that. And then Kayla's mom, she works at a bar, meets a bunch of people locally. It just kind of like started connecting them to us. We connect with them now. We know our source. It's like it's so helpful.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's
it's
like
having somebody in a sociable role like that is a huge
unbeatable.
win. You know,
Yeah.
that's why the things
And
the things I do is like allows me to do what I get to because I put myself into a social environment to
yeah,
enjoy these fruits for the ROR and such
the
like that.
ROR, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's awesome to see just like getting things like locally sourced and stuff. It's just unbeatable. Like especially around here. Like it's Midwest. You have to do it now. Just to beat inflation, to beat like the odds of the store, whatever they're putting in the GMOs and the Walmart, whatever.
Mhm.
You have to know people, and when you get more and more connections in that route, you open up even more doors. Because we might have potentially somebody with land now who shoots guns frequently, and I haven't talked to him yet, but it is somebody that somebody else that we knew knows. So,
For sure.
it starts opening up even doors like that. So,
That is the nice thing about making this connection. Now, just finding trying like luckily for us, like we have the Mormon Coulee experimental forest. It's not easy, but it's like you can harvest animals off of it. But it's
yeah,
2,600 acres. It's a lot of land to work with.
yeah, I mean, I gotta get my gun license and all. I know we talk about that every week, but I'll get there eventually. It'll be something
Oh,
that
your
I work
license, you can
on.
do it online. You can well, you can
I
do it
might
through
I might have
Go
had it from
Wild.
last year.
You can go through Go Wild, which I don't recommend. Their POS system is a POS. Some
Mhm.
of the Wisconsin are created. I always go through. Always go to Walmart because it's like I know it's like it's gonna work. 'Cause it's one of the very few direct DNR hubs where you get everything off that way. And it takes a lot of the is it gonna work attitude out of it. And then you get your physical copy, and you also get a chance to pick up. I like the physical book to read through it, and
Yeah,
then you can always download the PDFs. This way, you are able to do a keyword search, looking for keywords stuff like that, like how to
yeah,
help you with certain things, especially when you're doing up and down with the Mississippi for fishing wise. Then, if you're getting into like trout fishing, that even gets more stickier because each creek, each has its
I've
own
seen the
set of
map of
rules.
that. Yeah, it's like it's ridiculous.
Hmm.
It is ridiculous. There's so many trout streams so close to the Mississippi. It's like, yeah, you like have to know, but like also there's so many.
But yeah, it's getting
Learn your two or three, and you know,
But yeah, getting back to that, our initial point is like figuring like how to put your money to where it's going to benefit you the most is
yeah,
going to be the best things. Like some of the things I learned growing up, going through the whole college experience, going through all the roommates and such, is that you only buy for yourself. You don't share with your friends unless you do so. You kind of keep everything kind of separate, but also figure out staples that you can like when you're dirt poor. It's like when I was dirt poor, I was eating can of tuna, crackers, and mustard. That's how, or ramen noodles. You have to figure out ways to be able to survive throughout the thing. It's like it's not the healthiest thing, but it keep you alive. Tastes
yeah.
like shit, but it works.
Well, I was reading something recently. I think it was either like a Reddit post or one of those like Quora forums, and somebody said that they had gotten kidney stones from just eating peanut butter. Like they had really unhealthy like diet around the peanut butter, but they were just eating like literally like a whole jar of peanut butter every week, and ended up in the hospital for kidney
Ooh,
stones.
kidney stones are no
And it's
joke.
like, well, yeah, what do you
But if
do?
it's like, but
You know?
nowadays it's like everything's highly processed. So now you got to find the ones that have it doesn't have liquid on top of it, it's too processed for your stomach to handle.
Yeah, but you're also gonna be spending 4 or 5 extra bucks on that, you know what I mean? So, like,
Yeah.
everybody
So
just
when you're
goes to the
poor,
Jiffy,
Jiffy,
sugar,
Skippy, oh yeah,
yeah,
I was there, man. I
yeah,
know, it sucks.
but it's so good. Like,
That's
yeah.
sugar, that's sugar. But the unique thing is, like, with
Protein
us, like,
too,
let's
but
say you
yeah.
come to school to go to lacrosse, we
Yeah,
do have a river to go fishing at. So it's like from here, granted, it's a bit of a walk from here, but
yeah,
you can pull it off.
yeah, and if you have, like, a good day out there too, like, you'll be taking home a really good fish fry. Like, you'll be
Mhm.
having, like, pretty good food for a week or whatever.
Oh
So,
yeah,
like,
definitely. Especially if you know how to cook it, preserve it, and stuff like that. 'Cause it's not hard. Because if you can get the meat from the bank to your household
yeah.
and get it
You
all
know,
cleaned up, you can save it for a couple of years.
I think something with the and we've been spoiled, right? We've been kind of spoiled. Like we haven't really had like tough times per se. Like individually, yes,
Mhm.
right? Like there are moments for in your life where you're
But
like, I
social,
gotta
economically wise,
pack,
no, we haven't.
yeah.
We
So
have not gone through
pack
a
of sardines and mustard. Yes, it'll get you through a tough financial time, but like all in all, most of society with the whole like industrial revolution, right, has pretty much been like automatized to like a point where life is like really easy, right? Like we haven't really seen anything crazy happen. And
no, not unless you live in a third world country and Bill
so
Gates shows up on your door.
and kind of kind of what I'm saying is it's like I think when you do pitch like the survival mentality where it's like, oh, like if you are really dirt poor, just like go get fish out of the stream down the, down the creek or whatever and come back and fry it up and learn how to preserve it, learn how to like, maintain your food and whatever. I think people like don't even I think that is almost like an uncomforting thing to probably 90% of the people, right?
It's a skill set that takes a while to master, but it also takes time. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't really want they don't realize how important time management really is. And when you're young, it's like you're looking for the next biggest dopamine drip. And
Yeah.
so it's like we've all and with like I was when I left here on Monday, we did a podcast for Monday. I'm looking at all the kids that are walking around. You can definitely tell which kids was an iPad kid, which one lived outside because you see it in the curvature of the spine just north of their shoulder blades. And
Yeah.
you can see the visible curvature when their head was bent down looking at a screen. And most of these kids that are in this area are 18 to 21. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's 8 years ago was 2014 or 2016.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So isn't that something?
a
So you
long
look at
time.
that what was 2016 technology? We had Fire tablets, we had iPads, obviously.
I
So,
mean, we had iPhones. iPhones were pretty consistent at that
mhm.
time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then on top of it, too, like some of the tablets have gotten cheaper throughout that period, too, as well. In the
Yeah.
Fire tablets from Amazon and such. But, it's like I feel bad for those kids because, like, all I see is like, you're gonna have issues with your shoulder. Like I do the same thing with Sophia in my nephew, brother-in-law. Because he's 17, but it's like he literally looks like his phone like this.
Yeah. Like his eyes like aren't good already.
Uh yes and no, but
All
it's like
that blue light.
you could see the curvature in the spine.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
And so it's like you could see that, but it's like his attention span shit. He doesn't get the dopamine he needs. Or
Yeah.
he gets like he needs that dopamine drip from social media or whatever's going on there and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
we talked about
Like I'm thinking about a clip right now where like we put you in one corner and we put like 4 different videos into like the same short.
okay.
That's our TikTok brain, right? So like that's how we get minds of the youth is that we put I don't know, whatever, temple run in one corner, we put somebody mixing food up in one corner, we maybe put somebody trying to jump off a cliff down
There you
here,
go.
and then we put you in the top right, and that's how Beat Your Podcast goes viral on TikTok.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden
Yeah.
we have a 10,000 subscribers based off that one clip.
Yeah, based on one video
Right.
that gets millions of views.
But it's
And
I like I know when we're working at home, I'm sure you probably do a better job. But there's some people that when they're like when I used to work when I'm working at home, it's like I have to like I purposely put my phone down, I'll put podcasts on, and I try to avoid social media. I try to avoid it as much as I possibly can.
It's unfortunate, man.
Because it's
I'm
like,
in group chats on Twitter with like millionaires at this point, and it's like you kind of got I gotta be close.
you know what I mean? I get
But
it
I do
too. I
help
get it.
meme with them, so it's like it's
Mhm,
kind of partially a job, but it's like really fun.
mhm.
I don't
But
know.
it's trying to find that balance
It's
where
the
you're trying to
social aspect of social
focus.
media, right?
Well, it's also trying to find that balance. We're old enough to recognize
You
that
want more?
yeah, I'm gonna have
Maybe
another.
just tap
Yeah,
it
yeah. I might. Let's see.
or go with yeah, go with whatever. Actually, you know what? Let's finish that.
I don't think there's anything. I think there's nothing left. I think I should be able to finish this off. Oh, look at that! I finished it off. Giggity.
A little drip. You want to do the J. Henry then, or do you want the Chattanooga, or do you want to try? No, the flavored ones are.
Yeah, they're there for
Do
novelty.
you want the Henry?
I'll probably have a little bit of the Henry. Henry,
I don't want to drink alone, so like
yeah,
I'm just gonna
yeah,
wait.
yeah. I'll have a little bit of this right here. I do enjoy this. There we go.
Yeah, you do enjoy it, but
Yeah, it's something that for me the small batch is just a really good one. But like as I've been getting more and more into smoking cigars and such like that, I really enjoy like a higher proof with a cigar. You know,
yeah,
this past
I think
weekend,
that's normal. I think that's like a pretty normal because the smoke kind of like cools down the liquor, like without thinking about it too much.
well, there's pairings that you can work with cigars, especially if you really get into the that aspect of cigars, smoking and drinks, stuff like that.
Hmm. Man, there was something I was gonna say about like the memeing or whatever. Oh yeah, so do you think that okay, so obviously there's a very social aspect of social media where you can be like kind of on the ground marketing. It is more like, hey, you're sharing this video with your friend because you guys both can share a laugh together about it, or you're sharing a meme with other people.
I get a
There's
lot
a
of people sending me a lot of memes, a lot of groups.
yeah,
You
and
know,
there's
which
a
is cool though. It's like because
yeah,
it's like it lets me
it,
know that they're actually thinking of me. That thinks
that's
like, hey,
like
that's funny.
that's like the very social aspect of social media. But
Mhm.
then you also know that there's a media side to social media
Yep.
where it is just media and you're doing is swiping through videos, consuming content,
Hmm.
watching content all day, not even commenting, not even leaving a like, not even like interacting with anybody else. You're scrolling through nameless people, strangers, right?
Correct.
Do you think that social media is damaging to the fact of just content? Like if you're not making content on social media, do you think it's more damaging?
Or just swiping through stuff.
Yeah.
I think that reflects on the person, on the individual itself, because it's like they don't have it. They don't have enough priorities where they can that they need to dedicate their time to social media. Like as you progress, it's like the more and more priorities that you have in your life,
Hmm.
the less and less you're on social media. It's just like anybody that I know that that's influential or that I find influential. They post their content. That's it,
Yeah.
and they go out. They have to go do something else because they're either a husband, a wife, a parent,
Yeah.
or they're doing something like we're doing, like with a group of friends. So I think that's where it comes down to it.
All of
So
our friends today.
yeah,
Thank
so
you.
that's where
Phil
my
was supposed to be here,
yeah.
okay? Guys, I'm serious. Phil
Well,
was supposed to be here.
due to unforeseen
Yeah. Oh
circumstances, you
no,
know,
no,
because I
it's
mean, it sucks but that's the worst part about when you hit a certain age in life. That's like when I told you guys on Monday when my dad called me up, it's like
like past 8 p.m. or whatever.
no, he calls me
Yeah.
at 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's like it's a 30-second conversation, 30-second voicemail. Usually his voicemails are 10 seconds, maybe 12 seconds.
Hmm.
He's like, hey, dad, he doesn't call himself dad. He calls him like, hey, this is Roger. My back.
He
He
doesn't
hangs
call
up.
himself that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's so
And so,
baller.
but when you leave a 30-second voicemail, it's like,
Yeah.
who the fuck died?
Yeah,
So you
right.
know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
when it comes down. That's where I'm at in my life. So it's like I'm not at a midlife crisis, but it's like it's a pivotal point
Wha
where you pay attention,
what
like
do you think a
what you need to do.
midlife crisis looks like for Jeff?
Ah, I, midlife crisis.
Do you think you've
See,
already gone through it?
no, I haven't. I don't have a. See, I don't have a crisis. Like I don't. I'm not looking for a means of gratification through outside my normal day to day. It's like
Yeah.
I have my archery to create the peace. I have my Magic the Gathering to be able to create my competition. I have you and and B tier podcast to satisfy my social needs, and
Mhm.
and then I have a work that gives me purpose.
Yeah.
Then I have my own podcast that just like
Then
that gives me
you
joy.
already have, like, a beautiful wife, you know,
Yeah, I have an
I
awesome
feel like you
daughter.
can
You
kinda
know,
just
it's like so
yeah.
it's like
I feel like you can kinda just cruise back
so
now.
so we get well basically now, which is like how do I want to just add value to others' lives because my
Yeah.
life is already valuable. So
Mhm.
now how do I make other people's life valuable? That's why like when we had like our bucket list, it's like I feel like hunts are more valuable to me because now it's like you and I go on a hunt, we're out in the weather, we're out in shit, we're like
You
we're our
go
dis
through you're in the trenches
yeah,
per se.
exactly. Now, it's
Yeah.
like if we go to a football game, it's fun for a few hours,
Yeah.
and but it doesn't really build you anything. It's like it's
Purely
valuetainment.
entertainment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's valuetainment.
valuetainment, yeah.
Yeah, but there wasn't really no value. It's like okay, I'm gonna Coliseum that they
Patrick Bet-David's gonna, like, call us right now. He's gonna be
right,
like, "Oh, you guys just used my name on your
yeah,
show."
right. So it's like
Then we
we're
get Patrick Bet-David on here.
that would be pretty unique to be able to have him on there
That'd be a
because
fun I think I would
he's a
like to go on his show.
oh man, especially like with him and let's
Okay, so
like Andrew Tate would be a fun
not
conversation to have.
completely like disrobe your conversation. Okay, so you said you want to like give people other people's life meaning now that you already have meaning in your life, right?
Okay.
Do you think the 40s, like when you turn 40, do you think that's gonna be like your time to kind of like do that and like expound on that?
I
Because I brought a quote earlier today that was
okay.
like pretty
I'll let
good.
you
It
finish
was
because
like
it's like you may change my perception on how I answer
like
the question.
the 20s is your time to like grind and make as much money as possible. Your 30s is your time for reflection, and your 40s is your second 20s.
That's actually a solid philosophy, but like
So
what
like the most change can happen in like your 20s and like your 40s.
that is a well usually your 30s is when you're really kind of creating a family like if you're following a traditional route, you're creating
Yeah,
a family environment.
like family.
And then
Yeah, family pretty much.
yeah, so it's that's
But
a
you grind in your 20s to make it like successful in your 30s so that you can like when your family gets older, you
mhm.
can just like you already have something that you built in your 20s. I don't know.
It's a
It came
very
from one of those like generational, like you know how people are thinking like generational wealth all the time, and they're like, oh, like how much money can I make for my family, and how. But I think people forget often that even wealth itself is like a mindset more than anything, and like generational ambition is something that people just like forget about. Like you have to like instill even in your youth, like in your next prodigy or like your prodigy, but you can like tell your kids to have the mindset of like ambition and going after their dreams, going after their goals. And that might be way more important than even setting up the wealth in their life to do so, you know?
see that philosophy is phenomenal, but you put a kid in a public school, they're fucked because it's brainwashed. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
But I
we're
mean, that's not what you do if you want to put in.
but it's like but that's how they like if you put your kid through public school, they're brainwashed to go to
yeah,
college, get yourself into debt, and then you're trying to climb out the top, and
the whole
hopefully
time.
you meet the right people, you make the right decisions to be able to get you ahead in life.
Yeah,
And like a lot of people look it all depends on your growing up aspect of it because
yeah,
one what you're saying is like that's a very Gen X thing to say because it's like at the time they had less influences you like want to go nowadays is like we recognize that we can fuck off but it's like
yeah.
but it's also how you find yourself and who you are and
I think a
not
big
everybody's able
thing.
to have the discipline level that you do to
Well,
be able to hit
I wouldn't even say discipline. I think it's like the ability to like take risk. Like risk on is like really important.
that is a very valuable point but it's your encouragement of your youth and which allows you to feel to take those risks.
Yeah, I would say the encouragement was not there.
But you know what I mean? But it's
Like
like
my
you
entire like even my family to this day, like they're like,
their brain they want you to go to college,
yeah.
go to get a job,
My mom
get married,
still
and go from
calls
there.
me to, hey, did you ever change your mind about going to college?
But
It's
that's
been like
their
+10 years at this point, and
that's
that's
her
still.
mindset. That's
I
what
know,
because
but
you know because she's what in her 50s.
yeah,
So it's like that's what because that's when one going to college was ROI positive. Nowadays, going to college is ROI negative
yeah,
because when you graduate, you are looking at 5-6% APR on 70, 80 grand. Like
Yeah.
Alicia was telling me that there's people that she works with, or that being in the communal being the position she's in, she's seen financial records where there's people still in their 60s paying off college debt they went to in their 90s.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you,
because of interest and all
yeah,
that,
because
yeah.
interest is a motherfucker, and it's
A
like
lot of people,
anytime
like,
you
pay off interest for the first 10 years and
and
then finally catch up.
yeah, the funny thing is like the worst part is like Joe Biden, that's the motherfucker that decided to pair up Federal Reserve and student loan debt to
Yeah.
coincide, and you can't file bankruptcy to get out of it, so you're kind of fucked.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I honestly the more that I look at the system as a whole, it's almost like it needs to have that amount of debt from
It
students.
creates a slave mentality, and
Well,
it creates a
it
slave
also
mind.
creates the very institutions that I hate a lot, but, like, I also know keep the float open, I guess, government safety nets and all that stuff,
For
right?
sure.
Because I think without any of that, like, if you couldn't convince the last generation to go to college, I can't say that America would look the same today. And whether that be a good or a bad thing, I guess that's
Mm.
kind of where everybody at home has to decide.
Well, the
But
upside is like
I would
if you go,
say,
let's say you go from 18 to college, that's where the brainwashing continues going on. This way, like we talked to your, I think it was last week, where the scariest generation is all the brainwashing on the communism that's been pushed into the millennial generation, which is my generation between like 35 and 45. That's going to eventually be rising up into power, becoming the next CEOs, becoming
yeah,
the next people in
all the
politics.
HR people, it's a bureaucratic like
Mhm.
entity at this point. It's like a hive mind.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That's
I mean the thing is with like the anthropology of the left, you start looking at it like that, right? Like the way that they've kind of designed it is that the right now is like arguing in the same ecosystem as the left. So like
was back in the 60s.
it's still yeah, and they've like put it this way for a while, right? So 50 plus 70 plus
Was it
years
Brett
at this
Weinstein,
point.
or was it because one of the Weinstein brothers was on, was it Lex Fridman podcast, or was it Tucker Carlson, where he was very hesitant to give his POV on it? It's like that the parties, their values have switched. Now the DNC is the party of violence. The DNC is the party of global war. DNC is the party of communism. It's like,
Yeah.
but then it's like now it's like all the same values that the RNC didn't have is now is what they have. They want less government. We want less taxes. We want people
Yeah.
to thrive. But
Well,
then we want
you know,
EBI, or
we've always wanted that. Like, I don't think that's ever changed. I think that's like a
maybe,
weird thing.
yeah.
Is like a lot of the right mentality, right? Like a lot of it doesn't necessarily fall under the fascist right because there
Mhm.
is like the evil side of the right too.
Oh, for
Everybody
sure,
has to
yeah.
agree on that.
Oh, definitely, because we
Um,
all know there's extremes to each side of each thing. So it's
yeah,
like, but just
and
right now, it's like the left is like 10xing everything,
they're doing
and
it quick.
and
They're
the
doing it
right is
quick.
like,
They're like breaking things and then they're providing fake solutions and then they're breaking even more things with that.
oh yeah,
They've like repeated the process over 60, 70 plus years.
oh, and
This is like
especially
where it like kind of goes.
when you look at all the sound bites from Governor Walz, you got the president-elect, uh, Kamala Harris,
Scamala. Have
Scamala, and
you seen that?
and
Yeah.
you got
She trended
Nancy
on Twitter
Pelosi.
with that name the other
Yeah,
day.
but it's like when you look at
Scamala.
what they're all the sound bites, what they're saying, what they really want to do, it's what George Orwell wrote in multiple books.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's the scary part, is that the same people that live and breathe that stuff thinking they're the good side. They're the side of good. But
yeah.
it's like when they watch like Star Wars, or when they watch Rebel Moon, it's like they're on the side of the Empire.
Yeah,
It's like
bureaucratic entity. Like
y-
bureaucratic. I don't know, whatever you want to
oh
call it.
yeah,
Empire. Yes.
and it's like, and the worst part is like you can't change, you can't argue your way into somebody changing their minds. Like you
No.
have to make them have the future thought for it, and
Yeah.
exposing
Yeah,
yourself
yeah.
to culture. It's like, and that's the unique thing is like when people talk about what's the when they talk about the A word, when they want to unalive their children in their womb.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I went ahead and I
The A word.
found,
We'll just call it that. Tag it below.
yeah, but then I tell them, it's like, well, there's an executive order that
Yeah.
was passed called 14076. Those who are listening will actually probably may look it up, but that's what protects it at a federal level.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't listen to. It's like
Yeah.
When you wake
Well,
up, you
it's
find you want to do your due diligence.
yeah. No, I mean a lot of and I think that's gonna end. It's weird because the amount of division we have on just that topic, right?
That's what they're going. That's what they're allowed to manipulate the masses because they're
That
dumb.
might end up being like the new slavery topic, though. You know what I mean? Like where you have half the country
Why don't you
thinking
bring
this,
that up?
half the country thinking
Because
that,
because the
and like
same
I,
same people to defend that will same be would have been the same people in the 1800s defending slavery.
I don't know. I don't know what it would look like today, but yeah,
That's our
it's some
comparison.
dichotomy. That's like our fight.
Mhm.
That's like our fight, right? That's our next. I don't know if it would lead to a civil war. I don't know what that looks like in the year 2025 or 2027.
Well, the way it's looking like we're more of children of men than anything else. We're just a one vaccine away from shutting off.
No. So we can't
development.
talk. We can't talk about it.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
no, what I would say is like kind of back to the how like the right mentality has been, right? So right now you have the left claiming everybody on the right is a Nazi, and that follows every single line of logic right now. So it's like everybody on the right is a Nazi. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what you
Yeah.
believe, right? The people who are more along the lines of like a British liberal, like people who were, for the revolution in America, like that type of liberal, right? 1776 worldwide type liberal.
Okay.
That person is sick of everybody calling everybody a Nazi on this side. So they're almost siding with Nazis, like actual Nazis, because they're just sick of this side calling them that, right? So that's almost created like a weird thing where it's almost punk to be like a Nazi now. And you've made like for the younger generation, for like the Zoomers growing up now, you've made it cool. Like the left, like inadvertently or I don't know what they're doing, but they've made it cool to be like a Nazi in the year 2024 because it's cool to be against the status quo. They very obviously control all the institutions. What do you think is going to happen with that?
Mhm.
Like, just do the math. I don't know what they're doing. Like,
We're
it
at the
bothers
stage
me.
of death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah,
And
and
we're
exactly. It's just like a slow bleed. Like
I was
everything is just going downhill. It's all devolving.
my friend Nick, he made a post on regarding the division that's going on with all because he's comparing his feed following the T word and the A word and the
Yeah,
K words
yeah,
like
yeah.
going back and forth, and he goes like, is this causing division or is this causing unity? And it's like my comment was like, what chapter in 1984 are we on right now?
What?
But it's like I'm a
Yeah,
smaller group inside of a smaller group that's even thinking that way, you know?
yeah.
And that's the scary part. It's like, well, I'm looking at the I look
Well,
at
you're looking at like the
I'm
authority. Like you're looking at like a bigger picture
but
because
it's also
do you
looking like
remember like
Jordan Peterson though, like when
the
he talks
political
about like
compass that you,
gigantism is what most people are afraid of.
sure.
And it's a really good conversation he had with one of I can't remember the guest he had on there, or was it the blue haired what's his
I don't know. I
what's
don't know
his
who that
name?
would be.
Oh, that blue haired guy that like his wife's leaving him. They used to be an open. He's on Twitch. He used to be
Oh,
conservative.
Destiny?
Chastity. There we go.
Destiny.
Destiny.
Chastity's a funny one, though.
Yeah,
Good.
but he used that exact argument, not argument, but that same point
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, because Destiny wants everybody to get jabbed and get into the bubble or the pot and eat bugs.
Destiny's quote is like, well, no, Hassan's is like, go punch a Nazi. I think Destiny is like, I'm okay with killing these guys. Like, I think that's like a direct quote from him.
That's
Yeah.
but that's what we're at. It's
I
like that's the
think
fear of the gigantism that we're afraid of on both
it's
sides.
like it's like the macro. Yeah. It's like I think, and it's scary for people like you and I because we're not even like arguing in like the same stratosphere. I remember we took like the political compass test and you and I are both on like the very bottom, like libertarian right
Oh yeah,
side.
I
like,
am only right
libertarian,
because
like,
I want
left a little
I
bit, yeah.
want capital punishment. That's
Yeah,
the only reason
that
I am just
that's
like,
actually
I'm a
my
tick.
that's like my hair move too,
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
it.
like
Otherwise, I'd be like right in the middle because
yeah, and I wouldn't say capital punishment for every crime. I think mine literally is like age of consent law crime. That's like the only one that I'm like really kind of moved over on.
and with the
That
where
said,
we're
though,
at
like
today with their DNA technology is like we got you dead to rights for doing raping somebody or murdering somebody. It's
yeah,
like just wood chip. Send it. Or, no,
I mean,
actually, it's A 9mm will be cheaper than running the gas on a wood chipper.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, 40 cents to put one in the back.
Right? Yeah.
No, and it's insane because like like because we might disagree with some stuff, but like we're arguing way outside of like the Overton window, right? Like
Oh,
everybody's
for
arguing
sure.
in this like
We're beyond
like
the Proud Boys. We're beyond was it the Young Turks? We're like,
you say it, we're not in the Overton window at all,
no.
right?
What's
And
the Overton window?
the Overton window is like the acceptable topics for a general audience. This shifts all the time, so you can use this kind of like a general term, right?
Okay. All right.
It used to be taboo to talk about, or it used to be taboo to use, and now that window is kind of shifting back over, and I'll blurt it out for the show, but
For sure. Oh yeah, blurp, just beep it out.
yeah,
Keep
just
it better.
beep that out a little bit. But we've had terms kind of shift in and out of this. It used to be okay to for a while there, it went really far left, and it was like it was okay to call everybody a Nazi who didn't agree with you, right? Now we're kind of seeing like a backtrack on that, but like it's kind of the general sphere of like what the news talks about, what is okay to talk about, why you can't talk about that topic. It's like it's basically the Overton window is what you can view as a general public viewer, right? So it's what the media wants you to see, essentially. And anything outside of that falls outside of that window, and it
Oh, for
is either
sure.
taboo or you can't talk about it. We're still good.
We're fine. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Everything,
I thought something
I'm
cut
just
out.
double checking to make sure.
No,
All
I'm thankful.
Yeah.
Phil usually wink to him. I'm like, like
Yeah.
um, yeah. So the Overton window is like very far removed from what topics we talk about, even on the pod, right?
Why we've been
Hunting is like an okay thing in the Overton window, but like we couldn't talk about
can't talk
A
about
word, the E word.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are like things outside of the Overton window that you can't discuss. Right?
Yeah, that's outside the censorship.
It's
that really
outside of the
like,
TOS of YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, TOS. Yeah.
So the Overton window has it's been kind of shifting back and forth, but they're both authoritarian left and authoritarian right. That's pretty much like what the Overton window is. It's like, are the communists gonna win? And are they going to take over and become the hive mind, or are the right authoritarian Nazis from World War II going to come back and win? And I think most people have agreed, like people on both sides of the aisle are like the Nazis are not good people, and I don't think we want them to win again, right?
No.
But the way that it's getting demonized now, it's like it's almost like that's almost inevitable.
It's what they're looking
and
for.
I don't know if that's like a default. Like I think if you give people like gun to the back of your head, would you rather be a communist or a fascist? And I think most people would go fascist. Like I think that's almost like a default answer because that even the thinkers of like the 1920s, like the Italian fascist thinkers, like they at least had coherent thoughts about like immigration and coherent thoughts on like how you create a machine that does show like an ego, right? And the problem with the communist thinkers is that they're always like talking about, more along the lines of like a global homo agenda. So it's like everything has to be the same and everything can be interchangeable. But
I got what they want to have
the
fluidity is what you're looking for. Is they don't want to have anybody.
Yeah,
It's like they want to be
they want
selfish, but they
everything
don't
to
want
be the same.
They want every if you're
It's selfish, but it's
if you're
also
north of this
not,
line, you're part of my friend group. So it's like
Yeah.
so you get to reap all the rewards like Russia. But if
Yeah.
you're on this side of the line, you're kind of fucked because our goal is to make sure you stay on this side of the line. That's
Yeah.
why we have the policies we do because they want to keep that line division.
They want to make everything the same. And the thing with like the fascist right, they organize a different way. They're really good at it's usually what you think of as the warrior culture. But they organize very well, and they also highly stress either some type of Christian or religious type aspect. The Nazis not so much. We don't know what they were doing there. A lot of the industrialization in Japan kind of ruined that for them, but the Italians, they were like very, very like strong in faith too. And the thing that the fascistic right does that the communist left does not do is that they stress family unit, right? Family cohesion.
Mhm.
Um, getting your family better through the state or through the nation or through like your countrymen, right? And that's something that the communist left does not do. They are very selfish. They are very it's very like individualized. It's very individual in
That
the
I
process of
feel
the
like
whole
that's
thing.
that's a key dynamic between the two of them is the family
It's
unit.
a
Because right
massive
now,
change.
ever since the feminism movement came out, the whole
They've
goal
been breaking it. They've
was
just
to
been breaking
destroy
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they think that it's gonna like work long term for them. So I mean,
But
obviously
it
they're
doesn't
gonna.
it'll
It's
work for a period of time, but then
I was gonna say
it'll
it's
fail.
working for now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's the thing.
Their
We're just in the
idea is
middle of
like,
that.
yeah,
We are in the middle of
we're in
that.
the middle
Like
of
we're in the
exactly.
middle of it.
So it's like now it's like we've seen the script, we've seen with this movie.
Yeah.
Now it's like, how do we have to have enough people to not fall for it? But I think because of the generation during
without falling into the Nazism, without falling into the fascistic right either,
Mhm.
or even going further than the fascistic right, you could go into Islam. You don't want people falling into that either.
That's even worse because
So
like
because then
follow
women's rights are never gonna come back.
yeah,
like if they think it's bad now,
Sharia law is far worse than we're doing. But it's like I
so
think that it comes down to the dynamic of where it's like you got the people that follow Christ and the people that follow religion. People that follow religion are easy to be
well,
brain loss be changed. If
and
you follow
I'm happy.
Christ, you're a little more independent. You may
Yeah.
have a more of an independent thinking because a lot of people that you've met, we're all followers of Christ, not religion, not the church,
Yeah.
not the one world religion that the Pope is trying to pull off. I mean, he just did a
Oh, that's just as communist as the
that just happened. Literally,
just as
like
crazy. I've been watching it.
yeah,
Been watching it
but
unfold.
see what I mean? So that's where you're able to take
Yeah.
communism and religionism and go this way. But where you have Christianity, it's like all my friends want to like they want to help each other out. Like Seth, I think I don't know if you met him, but he like I asked him like what I should do about doing bear hunting. He's like I don't know what to do, and it's like I don't know what work like. It's not not what to do. It's like how do I be able to do it? Because it's like if I want to put where do I put it for points at to be able to draw a bear tag? Because like if I go up north, it's like well doing a bait pile is expensive because now it's like I live X amount of miles. You have to
Yeah.
drive there and then drive back, and then you have to put everything up out there. You know what I mean?
You have to
So
get
it's-
somebody who can do that for
and then
you.
like my next door neighbor, he was telling me that they actually have like a co-op in a sense, but
Okay.
they focus more on running dogs because they feel like that's more like in their eyes it's more humane because once the dogs have treed a bear, you're able to look at how big it is. If it's how is it a juvenile? Is it an adolescent? Or is it a teenager? Is it an
Yeah.
adult? Is it big enough? You know what I mean? And plus, also you're able to find out does it have dangly bits or does it,
Yeah.
or is it a female? Because
Yeah.
in this way, then if you're waiting, if you're sitting on like a bait pile, the bear comes in until that bear turns around and pees, you don't know what it has between its legs.
Yeah.
So it's like, and most of
Is
the
it
guys,
like okay to hunt female or
if
male?
if they
get
do
mad?
not have cubs with them, they
Okay.
usually have cubs with them for roughly
You
2
can't
years.
shoot them when they have cubs.
No,
Yeah.
but it's like, I think
I feel
overall,
like that's like a moral thing.
it's a moral
though.
thing. But I
Yeah.
believe, don't quote me on this. It's like,
If it attacks you, it
I
might be
believe
different.
I believe it is against the law to shoot a
Okay.
sow with cubs. I don't
That
know
that
100%.
seems like it should be a law, even though I don't agree. We went all on that
Mhm.
one other podcast. I think that should be some moral question.
That's
You know,
why, like,
morally ethical. Is it? You know, is
but
it
that's
there?
what once you understand the life cycle of a cub, it takes 2 years before the female will kick it off. And it's like most
Yeah.
times, like if there's a boar that's coming around, and he's horny, he'll kill that cub to be able to mate with her.
What in the heck?
Yes, because once the cub's dead, because like once a sow is raising a cub, if they-
Animals are crazy.
they'll shut down. So
Like,
their reproductive system will shut down because it's like they need to focus all their energy on raising X cubs to kick them out of the nest.
that's
But if
insane.
the boar's horny, he's gonna come. He's gonna kill that cub, and that'll turn around eventually. Turn this sow go into heat and breed her.
That's crazy.
That's why you have
That's
to.
insane
That's where you get
behavior. man.
trichinosis from. Is that because they eat because it's like that's how they they pass it on. So when you kill a bear, you have to cook it no less than 165 degrees. Otherwise, if you get trichinosis, then you have fun conversations, blood samples, blood draws from
Oh, I'm
CDC
sure.
for weeks,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah, that's like not fun.
Yeah,
You don't want-
exactly.
It's not
But
fun.
but once
It's not as fun
but
at all.
if you contract it, though, you can't pass it on anybody unless somebody eats you.
Oh, it's like a cannibal only thing?
pretty much. That's why,
Okay.
like, we're outside the generation, but my dad's generation, his dad, like, they would have to eat, you have to cook pork to 165 degrees because pigs are known to eat their young,
Yeah.
especially if they can't support them. That's
Yeah.
where you get trichinosis. But now since we
Well,
have
like raw
factory
yeah,
farming,
raw pork is not good for
yeah,
you.
but now
Yeah.
since we have factory farming, it's like we've kind of basically weeded that out from that happening.
Yeah.
It does happen, but that stigma's still there. So like there's people that will cook that to basically like basically medium rare, but then they'll put it in a container to allow it to cook the rest of the way up there. This way
Mhm.
you avoid drying it out. And
Yeah,
your
yeah.
educated chefs
'Cause
will do
pork
that
is like yeah, pork is like such a dry meat as it is.
because it's a very fine
Like
line.
turkey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like turkey, like chicken too, because you can cook
Oh,
chicken. Yeah.
I've messed up chicken so much,
But
it's
then
not even
where
funny.
you're saving grace is if you have skin. Skin keeps that moisture
Oh,
in, it
yeah,
keeps
yeah.
fat on it, stuff like that. So it's like the most unhealthiest thing you can get in a chicken is the skin.
I grew up with, like, pork chops. There's no skin on there, it's just you have, like, the little brim around it, but it's pork chops, man,
And,
and, like, that
and see the
I would
nine,
not go back to that.
yeah.
Pork chops and peas, and then occasionally we'd have either mashed potatoes or, like, Hawaiian buns as a side. That
Mhm.
was, like, my meal growing up. My mom would make it
Yeah.
4 days a week.
Pork is cheap.
Like
That pork at that time is cheap, and it's still cheap to this day.
yeah.
We were looking like right now, pork is at $3 a
Oh,
pound. Back in the
it
'90s
was
or in the
cheap back then too.
mhm,
Yeah, I
mhm.
think that was like our struggle meal, to be
Yeah.
honest. Now that I think back, but at the time I was just like, "Oh,
And
pork chop again,
there
huh?"
is an industry correction now. Well, if you go for
Okay.
the smaller farms, they're actually going to actually focus on putting marbling on there, putting fat back into it because like over the years is like they wanted to like pork, the other white meat. You may be too young for that slogan, but they wanted
Pork
to,
the other white meat
they were
sounds like a
trying to
sexual reference to
they were
me, so I don't
trying
know.
to compete with chicken market. They wanted to sell more pigs. But then what ended up happening is they ended up breeding skinnier pigs. They had less fat content on them.
Mhm.
And now it's like what Thomas gave me as a gift. He gave me a piece of I can't remember the name of the pig that he. It's a very unique looking pig, but it's like the smaller farmers want to go back to that where they actually you can build a brand based off of the marbling of the pig that you slaughter.
Yeah. Alright.
Mhm.
That sounds like a lot.
It's just changing up on how you proceed and how you grow it, stuff like that. And there's certain
What
facets of the pig genome that you can create.
can when you kill a wild boar, you can make bacon out of that,
Oh
right?
yeah, oh yeah. It may be a little bit
It
more leaner than
I was gonna say if
than
it's
a production farm
okay.
or like
It's more like a gamey meat, is that what you're saying, though?
no, it's going to be a different color, and it'll be leaner because now the pig actually has to fight for the food it eats, not being
Yeah.
just shoveled the
Yeah,
food.
yeah.
Essentially, is the
Okay.
difference of it all.
Oh, so it's just like okay,
Because
gotcha.
there's
I was
like
wondering if feral pig was, like, unedible, you
no,
know what I
no,
mean?
it's
Oh,
perfectly
I
edible.
mean, I
It's
guess
just
everything is edible to a
yeah,
degree,
everything
but
as
you know what I
long as
mean?
it's
Like
cooked to temperature.
yeah, I was
Because
gonna say, but
if
there's
you're
gamey meat, though, too. There's, like
you're actually
people
gonna be more of
mess
a
up venison a lot, man. So, like,
yeah, yeah. I think it just
you're
comes down to
saying this from,
experiments.
like yeah, you're saying
It
this
comes
from, like,
down to
experience.
experiments, and you
Yeah,
need to fail in order to
experience
get
and
better.
yeah.
Like
I know what you mean.
like there's a guy that I know that he won't cook high end meat because he has a fear of failure.
But I think you have to, like, almost but
You
you
have to.
almost have to, like, try it to know how to cook it,
Oh yeah,
right?
I've fucked up
I've
briskets.
messed up
I've messed up
yeah.
briskets. I've messed up
I've
T-bones.
messed up steak quite a few times, before I actually got it down to, like, where I
hmm
kinda like it, you know?
But it's the at bats that everybody needs to become a
You
better
almost have to
cook.
take, like, 15 shots at that before you're, like, even close to a good chef or close to, like, being good, and then, like, takes 100 extra more to be, like, great. You know what I mean?
That is a good point.
How many times did you have to cook brisket before you think you nailed it?
Let's see here. It took me 7, 8 times, so we're probably looking at $400 to $500 worth of money that I still ate it, but it's like I learned what I
Yeah.
needed to do better for it.
I remember one of your first ones, I think, and, like, it was good. And
But
then
it was
I
dry. It was
remember your
overcooked.
last one, and I was like, "Holy"
It's much better. It's much better. Yeah.
it's like the progress is just it's been there. It keeps going. It keeps getting better.
Uh huh.
Every
That's
time I go up there and you bring like the brisket you're making for Oktoberfest. I know it's gonna be better than your meat fest one. I'm already
mhm,
hyped. Like I'm
yeah.
already
And then one that I
my
did for
brain's
me.
like locked in, man.
The one I did for Meat Fest was just a
Yeah.
flat, so it's like I had to use left. The reason why it was decent is that I it had I didn't trim any fat off it, but I
You
was
need more
lucky.
water.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
when
was
I
lucky
come
that
back, let's answer your question, and then
for
I don't know.
sure.
I'll
Yeah,
check what time we're at, but you can keep going.
yeah, we're sitting at right at an hour, really like an hour to 18 seconds.
I figured we were right about that time, but
Yeah,
I'll get you water, ice.
I'll
Did you
talk to the
want
camera.
more ice for that?
No, I'll just stick with water now.
You can keep talking if you
Mhm.
want.
So now what Brady's referring to as Meat Fest, this is something I've been doing for 40 years. And it's like my Meat Fest it has been evolving ever since. Like this year alone, that I had 6 different cuts of meat that I prepared. I had tongue, I had heart, I had brisket, I had venison, and I also had burnt ends, which was a popular thing from last year, was a hit. But I keep on adding, even had Audat too as well. Now, the brisket that I put display for everybody was a flat. So it's basically a thin piece of meat that's on the other side of all the fat and all the other good stuff that you need off of it. And that was just something that we got from the butcher that we prepared. So the guy I went halvesies with, he brought that in. He brought that over to me to prepare and such. So when you do something like that, you have to have beef tallow prepared for, because otherwise you're not going to get the desired flavor. Because the beef tallow, when you wrap in the butcher paper, you pour a whole bunch on it, is that you're basically rehydrating the meat again. And so to go on, because you pull it off at 170, and then you bring it up, and after that, you bring it up to 205, 200, right around there. And then you let it rest. That resting period allows you to basically rejuvenate the piece of meat. And so the one I'm cooking this time, coming up here in a couple weeks, is just a full brisket. So it's 16 pounds. It has all the fat. It's untrimmed, so I had to do all the trimming from it. So what I'll do is that I will put all the fat on in a tray. I will and put it back in the smoker, and I'll put the fat on top of a rack. And so as it cooks down, the tallow will come underneath it, and then I can use that beef tallow for other things throughout the course of the year. And so I'm going to keep what I don't use, or actually I'm going to proportion it. So this way, then I have it for other options, because it turns into a science. Turns into a science experiment after a period of time where it starts to mold and such. So it's like figuring out how many ounces I'll get from it. Because what I did last time is that I put it in a crock pot for the low setting. Well, when you're cooking brisket, you want to put it, if you're putting it in a crock pot, put it high and allow it to cook down and begin. And you have to stir it and stuff like that. You'll tell when the fat is no longer, it's all completely rendered out. Then you just pull that out. Then you strain it and stuff like that, and you put it into a container, and it works out pretty good. And you're able to use that meat for seasoning your pans, using that lard for other cooking options too as well. Is what our grandparents or great grandparents used to do on the daily.
Speaking of grandparents,
You talk to your grandpa about coming on.
I talked to my grandpa about coming on. He said
Yeah.
he will try to be here Monday night.
What? No shit. Have you told anybody else?
I have not told Phil yet because I didn't know.
Oh, fair.
It'll probably just be you, me, Phil, and Grandpa.
Okay, because I know with Kato, with everything that's going on with local
I
PD,
figure
he's
he
kind of
can't make it.
yeah.
Dude, I don't know. Like if he, if his job calms down or if he ends up quitting or whatever, we'll go from there. But I just wanted to make it known that there's a possibility. I'm hyped.
That's pretty legit.
Yeah, my grandpa will be a lot of fun, and yeah, I do want to confirm that story because I heard a long time ago that he had met George Carlin, and I just want to see. I just want to know. So I'll probably ask him that like right away. Cause my like step sister told me that. So I guess we'll go from that story. I'll just
I
be like,
gotcha.
oh yeah, like Shannon told me that yada yada yada. So
Sure.
we'll go from there.
That's a good way to really bring it up. And unique thing, it's like, but you
But
may have just met him like I did with me and Joe Rogan, just having a conversation and leaving. So,
it could have been that simple. Yeah, I don't know.
or if
I
you
don't
had a
know.
chance to actually meet him when he was up and coming, he was at here in La Crosse or Rochester, someplace where he's only
I
performing
think
for like 20 people.
it was at college, from what I know. So like, I think they went to the same. I don't know. We're gonna see. We're gonna see.
Yeah, for
We're gonna
sure.
confirm a story, and then
We'll allow him to unfold.
if it doesn't happen, or if it didn't happen, that's fine. I was like, we can talk about his religious experience because I know a lot of stuff is probably gonna come up about that.
No,
Like,
well,
he does want to talk.
see his
'Cause
progress into religion and his faith, because a lot of
right
people.
before we went into the beef conversation or the pork conversation, I was gonna mention like I think Christianity is gonna have like its second coming soon.
Oh yeah,
But I think
outside the United States, it's blowing up,
he
even
would
in the Muslim countries.
yeah, so he would be a really fun one to maybe talk about his past experience with that, and then kind of like delve into like, hey, what do you think about like kind of like the new like where the country's going, like the new type of religion, the new type of stuff that's away from because he's a Christ follower, right? Like he doesn't like the organized religions anymore. So I think like
I mean,
looking
he's a
at
follower of Christ, but he doesn't go to church.
and
Like that's
it's a lot
usually
of yeah.
a
So
lot of them
it'll
don't do
be
that
right.
anymore.
It'll be right in tandem with what we just talked about. So like, stay tuned for that.
I'm looking
Um,
forward to it. It could be a big episode for us.
It'll
We'll
be
see what the
really fun
internet
to have
says.
my grandpa on.
Yeah,
Honestly, it'll be
right.
a big episode for me, regardless. I don't think I could really
Mhm.
care what the internet says. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. The upside is like this, you get to pick the question because last couple times I picked the questions and started off.
Oh no, yeah, I don't care. I just as long as I don't get
I
skipped.
share the love. Well, that's why I usually ask. That's why I ask you the question first because if we don't, sometimes we can forget about who you like your
Yeah, well,
POV.
we yeah, it doesn't really matter that
Yeah.
much. I'm kidding, by the way, when I say that kind of stuff. Oh, Jeff, here we go. Favorite video game of all time.
Oh shit! I think I brought this up in years and podcasts in the past, but my favorite one that I really enjoy the most is that Turok, Turok the Dinosaur Hunter.
Okay.
And this dates me because I mean I remember playing this back in the '90s, and it's like then and I bought the most recent expansion. This was like 12 years ago, 13 years ago for the Xbox 360, and
Mhm.
that was really cool because they had enough money to bring in Ron Perlman as one of the voices, and it was fun.
Okay.
It's like it's a fun interaction game. It was completely different. The guns were fun. The guns were cool. It's like the only thing they didn't have was doing multiplayer live, more multiplayer inside the game itself. That's the only thing they were missing. But then when GoldenEye came out, doing the 4v4 or 2-on-2 or 4v or 1 on or 4 versus 4, you
Yeah.
have the opportunity to be able to play that. That was something that wasn't part of it. With their gun system, it was fun. The saving aspect of it, the rumble pack that comes with it is additional feature. Like, I
Yeah.
grew up with the evolution of video games. That's what sets me. But nowadays, I can't compete at the younger generation because my Twitch reaction is just not there. But and then if that one, and then I would go Super Mario 64,
Okay.
and then
Great
it would
game.
go Diddy Kong Racing. I remember, and then
Diddy
also
Kong Racing, man. It's so
yeah,
it's
it was
underappreciated, but that's a
it was
banger.
fun. The courses were
You can
fun.
fly. You
Yeah,
got
and also
boats.
the cops called on me too playing that game.
Oh
So get
yeah.
this shit. So
Okay.
this was probably 98, 99, and it was me, my brother, and and our good friend Ryan, which we're all still good friends to this day. And so what we ended up doing is that we're playing Diddy Kong, and it's like it was me and Ryan going back and forth. He would win, I would just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Then my brother out of left field comes in and wins. He wins, and all of us are screaming like, "Dude, this is fucking awesome!" It's like you won. And then it's like we were on the bottom floor because it was cooler,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it's like, "Hey, what's going on down there, guys?" It was a cop because apparently somebody thought we were screaming like girls, and somebody called the cops. So they wanted to come in, they wanted to make sure everything's okay, and the fuckers tracked in mud. So we had to clean that shit up.
That's the part you're mad about.
Yeah, 'cause we had to clean up the fucking mud. But the fact that the cops showed up was like, hey, apparently thought something we were getting hurt. But yeah, we were just screaming like, but it's like when we're downstairs in the basement, going through the window, the octaves are gonna change because we're all young. Well, yeah, I hit puberty. I don't think my brother and my friend Ryan had it yet, or they're going through that phase. You know, their voices are cracking and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. It was a fun experience, man. And then of course, Resident Evil series, like those are
Oh,
that
Resident
wraps
Evil,
up my
yeah.
like. I really like
Kind of like your top three, or like your peaks.
yeah
Yeah.
peaks. Those are ones that it's like I could play again to this day and have fun.
Yeah.
Now it's like if you ask me now, it's like it probably Need for Speed Underground 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Those are fun
Those are
games. 'Cause, like
great.
you weren't in a traditional racing thing, but you could build your cars up the way you wanted to, and you wanted to race on the streets, but like you didn't have the money to do it in real life. So this is how you're able to feel that joy because it's cheaper. It's like I can put in a Game Shark and cheat,
Yeah.
get infinite money,
Oh
and
yeah.
crash everything all out and go from there.
Right. No, that's like a good group of games though. So
Yeah.
like, you had mentioned Resident Evil. There's a new Resident Evil. They like remastered the original ones, and you can play with people now. So you can like play with like a duo or like a partner the whole campaign.
Sweet.
Um, I hope that they remaster Turok for you. That would
Turok.
Turok for
Turok.
you
So it's
would be sick.
Turok.
Getting a new Diddy Kong racing would be amazing, but we won't.
That'd be
I
so
would pray
cool.
on that. It would never happen though.
And then the fact that, see, I grew up in the console generation where you had cartridges, so they actually had to produce a good quality product. And where today it's like, we're gonna throw out a piece of shit game, and then, hey, we're gonna charge you for the DLC. It's like, hey, so it's like, then we'll
Yeah,
make up for what we didn't do.
we will launch a half-finished game and then update it as we go for the next 3 years.
Right? Yeah, exactly. They want to charge you every single thing, and it'll scrub your subscription fee every single month. It's like, hey, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have
Well,
anything better to do.
right, exactly. It's like you're already paying for the online now. Like you didn't have to do that before. It was a one and done payment.
Yeah.
You'd have everything packaged and then the one little
Mhm.
thing, one little battery pretty much.
Oh yeah, everything was in that cartridge.
One little RAM chip.
Yeah,
And then
so
now nothing works.
so everything had to be good. Everything had to be up to snuff before
Yeah.
they launched it.
Yeah.
Because it's like there was so much more involvement, but the risk versus reward was higher.
When you look at the content for like a game like Mario 64,
Oh, dude,
the
that
fact
was
that that
beautiful.
shipped with that many features and that many like elements of the game, so many
Mhm.
different worlds, so many different missions, and then
And
you
the
look
meta
at
games, stuff like that. It
yeah,
is a work of art.
it
It is
is,
just
it
it's a
is,
masterpiece.
yeah. I think it's crazy, just like because video games are like still the one of the coolest forms of expression. I think
Oh
in a
yeah, it
game
just sucks that
studio or in
like you guys nowadays that are like, let's say you're 10 or
let's-
12,
yeah.
you're coming to video games now. It's like you guys will never experience like the ingenuity that I went through
No.
in the PS1 era, the NES era.
I mean, it's
Take a
cool,
CD.
like, you have cool graphics now, but like
But there's really no creativity with it because it's like
graphics and gameplay are so disconnected.
getting back to like
Yeah,
risk versus reward. It's like nobody's willing to take, like, the
yeah.
big studios
You
don't
gotta
want to
take the risk, man. Risk
But
is a
it's
generational mindset.
Oh yeah, but now it's like they're constantly coming out with reiterations of the same content.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's why
Well, they're
COD
remastering
has gone to shit.
games all the time, and
Yeah.
they're bad. They're bad remasters. COD, yeah, 25 years COD has been coming out. My
Mhm.
entire life. Not even kidding you. I've been playing COD since I was like 6 years old. And every single game I buy, and every single game after like the last 13 years has been disappointing
Yeah.
in some regard.
Like Black Ops when that came out in 2010. I mean, that was fire.
Black
That
Ops
was a
1 was
fun
amazing.
game. You know,
Black
and
Ops
especially
1.
with the zombies.
Yeah. Black Ops 1 hit different.
Mhm.
Black Ops 2, even I would argue, is probably top like 3 CODs.
Mm-hmm.
So like, they really hit like a peak and then they dropped really hard.
Well, because
They dropped really hard after that.
because everybody made like everybody at the top was already rich. So it's like
Yeah.
now it's like instead of like taking that money and putting into the riskier things, like I remember once when South Park 64 came out. I mean, that was
Yeah.
a risk.
Well,
That was a
dude,
huge risk, but it was fun. It was a fun game.
the new South Park games are like just playing an episode at this point. Like they've gotten to that good of like animation style and everything, and path and branchways to different storylines and
Mhm.
everything like that.
So now getting back to you, since I've
Yeah.
been playing since the 90s.
You have
Where's
like
your
so your like peak games are because you gotta call like the top 6 games that you just listed off as like your peaks, right? Like your best games.
those are the ones that they
Those
have
are
the
good,
replay
though.
value. Yeah, and like even Star Fox 64. I
Star
I can
Fox is
play
so
that
much
game.
fun.
I can start it and finish it by playing by listening to Kid Rock, Devil Without a Cause.
So it's like a hour game.
It's an hour and 43 minutes.
Okay.
I could beat it with an hour and 43 minutes. That's how I
awesome.
know.
Yeah.
But that's like everybody's like
Do
praising
you think
Kid
if
Rock.
you
It's
went
like
back and did that right now, do you think you could do it? Like if you got it on an emulator and then you like just turned on the album, do you think your brain would like kickstart like
it's a
muscle memory to
possibility.
songs?
It is a possibility that I could be able to go through it.
And then you have to like chew gum at the same time, and then
Yeah.
your brain
Yeah, right. But
takes some providual.
But this is where a lot of people have forgotten that
Yeah.
like Kid Rock. Granted, Kid Rock's a spoiled rich kid. A
Oh,
lot of people
yeah,
don't know
yeah.
this.
We-
But
we-
also that it's
yeah.
like he also has a song
mentioned
on that
that.
album called I Am the Bull God.
Okay.
Bull God. Who is the bull god in Christianity? Baal.
Oh,
Baal is
BAL or BAAL.
yes. So it's
Gotcha.
like that. So it's like he sold his soul to the devil back then, but now he's coming out to be on the Christian side of it all, or the
Yeah,
or the conservative side of it. So it's
yeah.
like the only people like that I know that stuff like that. He sold his soul to the devil years ago, and even
Mhm.
though his parents were already rich, based off of their own merits, that's how he became as big as he is.
What do you think about Kanye? Do you think his, like, Christian revival is, authentic?
I actually think so
Genuine?
because if you look at his ex-wife, she's sucking the devil's dick
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Easy.
She's on all fours
Easy
throwing that
now.
ass back.
Yeah, yeah. Easy
Oh
now.
yeah, but it's like you look at, but it's like when you look at the series that she's on, it's all about devil
Yeah.
worship. It's
Okay.
always been about devil worship,
Yeah, and
except for Roanoke. That was a fun one. That's a fun play.
yeah, I think Kanye has moved back to, uh, at least Christianity, I think is, like, somewhat genuine. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I'd have to
It's
talk
tough.
to him.
It'd be very interesting because it's like
I
when you listen to his long form content, he's like he's all over the place. But it's like I'd rather listen to Alex Jones than
Oh,
listen to Kanye talk.
no, Kanye is hard to listen to, but, I mean, I
Yeah,
think
because he's very. It's
he
like
makes
he's
sense
a
in his head, and you know that.
yeah. Oh,
Because
his reality is weird.
he's smart. He's, like, ridiculously smart. He's working on a different brainwave. I think a lot of
That's
people
very true.
who
I think so too.
'cause, like,
After he got off the psychotropic or after the SSRIs or the
and
brainwashing.
got back on the nitrous, he's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
no, I think there is, like, a level of almost, like, disconnect because when somebody that smart talks, the same thing happened with Terrence Howard when he was
Oh
on Rogan.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
He
you have
like the
people and he might not be able to connect all the dots properly, and I think that's an issue that a lot of people like, smart people have too. Smart people are like, "Okay, well, you're not right here, so you can't be right here."
that's
But
where you have the analysts that are trying to pick apart your argument, but it's like your
yeah,
mind. You have so much information that's flowing.
there's something
How do
going
you
yeah,
calculate all that stuff?
there's
Because like
something
when
going that, like, not everybody can connect, and it's
like
very
listen to Alex
similar.
Jones, like when you
It's
listen to him, because like you're talking to a guy that's got 30 years of experience. Not they're no longer conspiracy theories; they've all come true.
most of them have,
Yeah, it's
which
like
is insane.
but it's like when I listen to him on
It's
Patrick
crazy
McDavid.
how much it's just, like, hitting, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh,
And then he does have obviously, you have, like, some big failures, and those are, like, the ones that people pinpoint,
mhm.
but to the credit of what you're saying, it's like, okay, so he can be right 30 different times now, and then somebody will find a spelling mistake on paragraph 7,
Albert Einstein
chapter
came up with this
10,
exact because it's
and
like he can have 10 questions right, but that one wrong one,
yep,
oh man, I'm gonna fuck
people
you
are
up, man.
gonna
It's like I got one over on you.
yep,
I'm smarter than you are.
it's crazy. It's absolutely insane.
That's the
There
ignorance of society.
Yeah, well, there's a guy I watch on YouTube who will purposely make a misedit. Like, he'll purposely say something wrong and then edit it out and then say it again. And he'll do that without chopping it up. And he tries to make a point to see if people in the comments will, like, call him out on it,
Oh,
right?
it's a very
So
fun experience.
obviously,
Experiment.
there's a little bit of engagement
But that's
there
what he
too
does. He's a
because
bait and switch. He's working
yeah, and
because
people
you know him.
yeah, yeah,
You know of him.
yeah.
I don't know
So
him, but
and
you know.
like the engagement bait's real because the people who just like call the edit out are like now joking about it. They're like, "Oh, like should have been an edit at this timestamp. It's not there," you know, and it's just like the meme of the community or whatever.
Sure,
But
sure.
he makes a very, very valid point where it will be like, you will make 30 great points in a row, and then you are wrong once, and people will call you out like a fucking demon on the one. And it's like,
oh
well,
yeah.
you have to look at like the argument as a whole. You have to bring in the macro, right? You can't just be looking at the Overton window. You can't just be looking at the one aspect.
The microaggressions of today's society is so much fun to navigate with
Yeah.
the short-term memory of the Zoomers.
Yeah. We're living in it.
Yeah.
Let me grab a question. We'll see what the title.
You
Oh,
never did answer your question, man. You didn't even answer your own question.
I didn't answer?
No,
Oh my
why?
God.
Well, at
You
least the
gotta
answer you
add-
gave me, I wasn't impressed with.
That's funny.
Well, because
Wait,
I dropped a
what was
couple
it?
like. Well, what is your favorite video game?
Oh yeah, duh. We were talking about the peaks of the video games. Okay. Sorry, we got on like Kanye West for a minute, and then I don't know what we were talking about before that. Oh yeah, you had the cops called on you.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
All right. What is my favorite video game of all time?
You've gotten to play with some very polished
Man,
games, you know.
I know. I've played so many games in my life though.
Oh, I get it, but it's like if you were to start over from today, which game would you start up?
Starting over from today.
That's a good way.
No,
That's
I know
how
it's a
I
good
look at it.
way.
Like what are my favorite games that I've played throughout history.
The most
But
nostalgic game, like the best
nostalgic,
game.
or someone like where like you want to beat in a different realm, a different world,
Yeah,
like a different level T, or you miss some meta games. It's such a complicated question.
I was always really good at it, but like the peak of Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, that was like my favorite game of all time. I'll put it on G on business. That is like my favorite game of all
That
time.
was when I was able to pull off
Um,
20 kills and 25. My best game was ever, was 25 kills, 1 death. And it's like, and being able to
yeah.
have a higher or kill
Did you
count
ever
than
drop a
death.
nuke?
Yeah, I've dropped, because back
Oh
then you
yeah,
had to earn it. Nowadays
yeah,
it's like,
yeah, yeah.
it's,
Used to be gun streaks.
mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be my favorite game of all time. I think just like
Which is a fun
there were
game.
just days where I would just like play the whole day. Like I
Mhm.
wouldn't even care. It'd be like a school day. I'd call out, I'd just play.
I'd actually like,
I
we
was good
played
at
it.
it. I had fun.
A friend of mine, we played it so much that we actually brought over my PS3 and my plasma screen. We
Yes,
brought it over to his place.
LAN
We
party.
Yeah, exactly. We just hop on it because I didn't have Wi-Fi, so that's how we play it. So
Yeah,
we actually, I have pictures of it. It's like,
dude.
I miss the guy, but it's like every time I talk to him, he's always trying to pitch. He's always trying to sell me something. It's like, I don't think he really. I think he's looking at me as sales, not as a friend. So it's like, I just kind of just stopped talking to him. I talked to his wife more than I talked to him.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it is what it is. But it's like, it's just what it is. What it is, man. We grew in different places. I
yeah,
elevated, and he changed. His life changed.
dude. Yeah. So like, and if you're speaking like LAN parties, Halo 3.
Oh,
Halo 2
fuck.
was really good too. Halo 2 is a really close second
Man,
for LAN
see, yeah,
parties.
see, me, like, ours was that, or Unreal Tournament.
Yeah.
Dude,
We
we
didn't
played
my
hours.
friend groups never really played Unreal, but I know
That's
that
You
we
guys are younger than we are. I mean,
yeah.
that was
When Halo 3
slapped in
came out,
2004 to 2006.
one of my buddies has a well, he doesn't live there anymore, so I guess he doesn't have it anymore. But he has a fireplace, living room. Oh, are we
We're at an
done?
hour 30.
Oh, okay.
We're at 90 minutes.
He has a fireplace, living room on this side, and if you go around the pillar, it's like another TV in the kitchen. Right? So it's back-to-back TVs. Two different rooms. And everybody would like bring their Xboxes over. There'd be people downstairs gaming. We had like 2, 3 TVs set up downstairs. The Xbox, like the PC would even jump into the lobbies, and then we'd all play Halo. Like everybody in the
Mhm.
house would play Halo, and we had like 4 people upstairs on one side of the TV, 4 people upstairs on the other side of the kitchen side of the TV, and 12 people in the lobby. We'd be playing 6v6s, like just like just the greatest LAN parties ever, right?
Oh man, those
We
were the
smoking,
pinnacle of
we would,
social media. It's like everybody had to play
the
Like,
original.
before the online generation came on. That was the best way to do it, because it's like, it was an event. I mean, we took, like, when I was in college, we took over classrooms. People brought in their dual monitors, and these are CRT monitors. That's how old I am when it comes up. But people bring in their towers and stuff like that. We would take over classrooms. We actually planned parties
Jeff.
around it, where we actually brought in
Jeff,
food. We couldn't. It was at school, so we couldn't bring food.
Jeff, what are the odds that we have a B tier LAN party for Unreal Tournament or Halo 2 or Halo 3? Like we play one of the classics.
That would be fucking awesome. But we have to.
A B tier tournament.
The upside is I have lapel mics, so we can be able to. So this way, then everybody can clip them onto a hat,
Yeah, I have like extra TVs too, and
yeah.
we could 100% get a party. Like I don't know if it would have to be here, but we could make it happen.
But the idea would be is the environment we're in is what we're looking for to create the environment.
Yeah,
And
do you think we
if
do?
we do it all LAN, if we do it all remote, it's like, it's not as fun. 'Cause
Yeah.
the idea is we could talk shit to everybody and be,
Oh,
but
no,
that would
no,
be a stream party.
We have to be here.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, or we have to be like in studio per
Mhm.
se. Make the studio wherever we'd have to.
Well, listen,
But-
my place is big enough to where we actually could have 2-step TVs and stuff like that, and be in the same room and
Yeah.
be comfortable. That's the upside.
Yeah, we
'Cause
need
here,
to
it's like we're all wrapped. We're all
'cause-
wrapped in here.
I don't know, like
We have
get-
to make sure that we have
invite-
no responsibilities Saturday.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have to invite everybody over too. We have to like make sure who we have and
Mhm.
who has what. you know?
And we can, but at least the
Um,
upside is,
but we could do like a Smash Bros tournament, like
mhm.
we don't have to just
That's
do.
see, that's the thing is like it's fun, but it's not fun for me. It's like it's okay.
Okay, no, I
You know
got
what I
you, I
mean? It's
got you.
like if we I want to go, I want to throwback. I want to go
Yeah.
old school. You know?
But I think the important part would be to live stream it. Like, I think we
Yes.
have to do, like, content for it.
Oh
'Cause I
yeah,
don't
we'd
think I
have
wanna
to.
do it without content now. I
Mhm.
don't even game when I'm not streaming anymore. Like, it's weird, man. Like, I used to be, like, a gamer, and I can't even say I stream now, and then, like, I just play games in the background. Like,
Yeah,
yes,
that's what the gamer is now. It's a streamer
yeah.
because it's like but you at least have an entertaining shtick. There's people out
I
there
have,
that
like, a
stream. It's like
thing. Yeah, I
that
have,
are
like, a
boring.
thing going on. Yeah.
So there's people that are out there are boring. That it's like it's just not
I
really exciting.
And for content now, I don't think you can just jump in and do nothing. I think you have to, like, do something now.
Well, look at
Like, you almost have
like
to have, like, a bait or, like, a
the
switch
Doctor
or something.
Disrespect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How he built his thing. I mean, he is in his mid-30s, but it's like before he was found to be
Before he
a
was
predator.
messaging minors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had a shtick though. It's like that's why I'm sure you had some type of an influence on that.
Oh,
From
yeah.
that, from
Yeah,
that, I
yeah.
should say.
Definitely. Definitely. Um, I think you have to be, like, more entertaining than the rest now if you wanna make it.
Mhm.
But I don't think I'll make it. Like, that's the thing. I don't think I'll ever, like, make it off of that content. I think we're more likely to hit it off of B tier.
That's a possibility because
Um,
considering how many times you
I
stream, how many channels you've developed, and it's like
yeah. I mean,
you're
the
sitting a few
podcasts
hundred.
always do better.
You may have hit a few streams where you're hitting like, what's your biggest stream?
Uh, for what channel?
No, just in general, your biggest stream
My
for
biggest stream
video game
ever
for video games.
for video games. Okay, because I was gonna say for like Bitcoin stuff, I
That's
hit.
different.
Okay,
That's
there
finance.
there were multiple days where I hit like 200 plus viewers on those, but
Yeah.
no one else was streaming that, so I was like literally the only person. Um, for video games, I think maybe like 50 or 60 viewers max.
See what I mean?
Yeah,
And there was people that are pulling in 7, 8,000. There's a few people that are
yeah.
pulling millions. So it's like to try to break it in there. It's like it's not like it's difficult. But it's
Gaming
like
is tougher than podcasting.
yeah.
But dude, if you invite gamers on the podcast, they don't talk much.
Yeah, they're pretty boring.
I hope I'm not boring because I
Oh,
am a
fuck
gamer,
no.
but like, no,
This is our second project together.
no,
Yeah,
I
you're
know,
boring.
I
No,
know, but well, the other one just got shut down. If
Yeah.
we could have still been doing that, we would have probably hit like 4,000 viewers
Oh,
or subs by
subs.
now.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, easy.
that would have been my biggest channel by
Mhm.
far. The
Yeah.
thing is, it's like even the growth on B tier is like already
Mhm.
faster than my gaming channel. My gaming channel is now for like 2.5, 3 years.
Right. And it's like,
And-
and I get it. That's
We're
your
gonna
means
pass
of-
up Peppa soon, like probably on this channel. Like it's
Fair.
crazy. It's like insane actually, and it's not like I'm putting any more effort into this one than I am to that one. It's just,
But I think that's a.
I think that's it.
I think yeah. Where we're at is like
Hopefully, my grandpa comes on to the next episode, and then we have Phil back, and then we got
Mhm.
4 people. So it should be good.
I think it'll be a
Fun
phenomenal
day.
thing. It's like, but I think the thing that you want to get from this podcast is time management.
Time
Where
management.
you really see yourself flourishing is being able to balance all that out.
Yeah.
I think that's where your 20s, your 30s come into play is like the time
20s,
management.
80s,
And when
40s.
you that's a very sub lesson, macro would be macro or micro lesson of
A macro
experience.
lesson,
Yeah.
probably.
a macro lesson of your growth cycle.
Yeah. Not that we have to preach all the time, but thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the show. We're getting a lot of views. We're getting a lot of likes. We're getting a ton of subs. Kind of just slowly going up. We're going to break 100 soon, I'm sure. Thank you guys so much for being a part of B tier. And for you in the back, have a good one. Just good enough, though, right? Just good enough.
B tier, man.
Yeah, it's B tier.